Hi everyone, we're reading Del Toro Moon by Darby Carshett, and today we are reading chapter 16. For the next 3 days, it was non-stop search and destroy, though really for more than the latter. Every time we spotted a Skinner, it tucked tail and hauled you-know-what. Drove my father insane because the one time we needed to get up close and personal with those things was the one time they were playing hard to get. Worse, the bulldozer showed up right on schedule on first thing on Monday morning. For several days, the T-Rex roar of the diesel engine filled the air as it grounded a road across the prairie. Even though it was more than a mile away, Dad stomped around in a foul mood, snapping at me and Ben. For once, my brother had the sense not to poke the bear. Finally, by Wednesday, the bulldozer finished and crawled back to town. The next afternoon, as I spread fresh straw around the barn, Elsid stuck his head inside. Can Parrot accompany me? Where to? I wiped my face on my shirt. To the bright lights of Hufrano. I told Javier I'm not in need of a refreshing. Sorry. I told Javier that I'm in need of a refreshing beverage after listening to that awful mechanized drone for the past 3 days. Do a little do? I dug in a pocket, pleased to find a couple of dollars. Sure, we can split one. Excellent. Plus, I wish to take a look at the new road. Give me a minute. I put away the rake and wheelbarrow, then slapped bits of straw from my hair and clothes. Checked my hands. Good enough. Bouncing on the up-end bucket, I motioned him over. No, Matt. Saddle me, por favor. Why? We're not hunting. But we are going into town. And there's no need to stand out more than we do. The locals already have a distorted view of our family. The less we call attention to ourselves, the better. Is there something going on? I hauled his tack over and hoisted it on his back. No more than usual. He shifted from side to side, settling the saddle more comfortably. You know what I mean. Yeah, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. Too bad folks can't handle the truth. I reached under him, caught the chink, sorry, then pulled around and buckled it. A rare loneliness washed over me. It'd be nice to have a friend who got me. I didn't think we were oddballs. Talking horses and magical weapons and creatures that go bump in the night are all just too much for the average person to believe in. You know this. And what people don't understand, they fear. And what they fear, they often grow to hate. Isabel, Turk, and I might be captured and taken away to be studied. Javier might be declared an unfit father. You and your brother would be placed in foster care. Dad, disbelief still. Sorry, what? Did I skip a page? No. Okay. Dad, disbelief stilled my hands. Unfit. I mean, he's strict about stuff, and he makes us do too many chores. But come on, think about it, Matt. What loving father would knowingly expose his child to monsters rampaging nearby and expect the child to fight said creatures using a medieval weapon while mounted on horseback? I laughed. Since you put it in that way, we'll just have to fake normal. Well, as normal as any family really is, he said dryly. We jogged out of the yard, the afternoon sun hot on our backs, and our shadows leading the way to town. Reaching the newly bulldozed road, we stopped. My gaze followed the shortcut as it left our road and curved northward toward the maze. Wonder where the paleontologists are going to set up. I mean, they wouldn't camp inside the maze, would they? After what Dad told them? Oh, they'll establish their base in the very worst location, I'm sure. Just as I'm certain they've written off Javier as some sort of isolated nutcase. He lowered his head and sniffed the raw soil, blowing away bits of dead grass. The more pressing question is how soon they arrive, he sighed. I did too. Still want that soda? More than ever. He broke into a jog. Reaching the town limits, Elsid slowed to a walk. His shoes rang like gongs on the asphalt. Only one car passed us. The elderly driver lifted a couple of fingers from his truck's steering wheel in greeting as he pulled out of the mini-mart parking lot. Matt? A girl's voice? I turned around. Across the street sat a row of small houses, most with dirt yards, and all of them in need of a coat of paint. To my surprise and uneasiness, Perry stood in the doorway of the nearest one. I swallowed, my mouth suddenly dry and useless, which was good because I had no idea what to say. Thought I heard horses. Letting go of the screen, she stepped to the edge of the porch. Fingers fumbling, I twisted the reins, signaling Elsa to stay put. He ignored me. Instead, he ambled up her driveway. Stupid horse. Hey, Perry, I said, dressed in the same cargo shorts and sporting a black t-shirt that declared, "Not all those who wander are lost." Perry jogged down the steps and slowed as she neared Elsid. Her black hair framed her face in delicate wisps. "Are you riding all the way into town?" She stroked the stallion's neck. "Hi, big guy. Just to 7-Eleven." I poked a thumb over her shoulder. Which which has got to be the coolest thing ever. What do you mean? Other kids ride their bikes to store. You ride a horse. Gotta love the rural life. She had looked past me. So where's Brad? Brad, your brother. Elsa laughed, then covered it up with a snort. Prairie's eyes widened, then narrowed. You mean Ben? I said hastily. He's at home. Oh. Her fingers combed through the gray's mane. I looked around, trying to fill the silence. This is your house? This place? No way, she made a face. We're just renting it until the site is up and running. I think my mom picked this dump to make the camp look better. She shuffled her feet. So, would you like a soda or something? Sure. The answer tumbled out of my mouth before I could catch it. You can sit on the porch if you need to keep an eye on El Cid. Worked for me. Being inside a girl's house seemed like too much of a commitment. I swung down, trying to be like Dad. One smooth move. Chewing on her lips, she glanced back at the open screen. Might as well get this over with. What? My mom, and I apologize in advance. I opened my mouth to ask why, then closed it. Instead, I smoothed my hair, wishing I had changed into a clean shirt before I left home. Mom? Harry raised her voice. Matt Del Toro's here. A clinking thud, like a bag of tools being dropped. A muffled exclamation, footsteps. Then Dr. Vandermeer appeared, dusting her hands on her jeans. Hello, Matt. She tucked a strand of pale hair behind one ear. With a smile, she joined us on the porch. Nice to see you again. How's your father? Fine, thank you. I couldn't help staring at my mother's blue eyes and blonde hair, and Perry's dark eyes and black strands. Wait, what? Dr. Vandermeer noticed my confusion. It's okay. People ask. And yes, Perry is my daughter. And yes, she is adopted. And yes, she is Chinese. And she's also one amazing individual. I'll just step up to the end of the porch now, Perry said. Throw up. Dr. Vandermeer ignored her. Would you like to come inside, Matt? She adds Elsid. Although I don't know what to do about your horse. We'll hang out here, Perry said before I could answer. All right, then. She opened the screen and paused. Per Hair? Sorry. Make sure you finish organizing your stuff for camp before supper. I'm sick of tripping over piles every time I walk into a room. Yes, Masta. Masta? Perry muttered, slurring her words. Iger obey Masta. Okay. Squinting one eye, she hunched a shoulder. I laughed at her imitation. She grinned back. Want to try that again? Dr. Vandermeer did that parental eyebrow lift that I knew so well. Sorry, Perry said out of the corner of her eye. Of her out of the corner of her mouth. It seemed to satisfy her mother. Shaking her head, she disappeared inside. Whump! The screen slapped shut. Message delivered. We took seats on either side of the top tread, the porch's shade a relief from the lowering sun. Elsid nickered, then pointed his nose at the vacant lot next door. I nodded. With that, he wandered away and began grazing on the spare grass. Wait, Perry flapped a hand at the gray. You just let him walk around like that? Well, yeah, he's bigger than me. She smiled. After a moment, her grin faded. Chin resting on her knees, she picked at a loose thread on the hem of her jeans. So uncool when she does that. I shrugged. My dad jumps on me too when I mouth off to him. It's like their job. No, I mean the whole adoption thing. Like anyone cares. She blew her bangs from her eyes, and then she does that. Perry is super awesome. Ugh, it's pathetic. Parents shouldn't brag about their kids. I bet your dad doesn't. Hardly. Maybe she's just proud of you. Or overcompensating. She's got issues. A part of me wondered if it was Perry who had issues. Enough drama. She straightened and slapped her knees. So I gotta know. Was it hard to learn to ride a horse? I guess not. I mean, I've been riding since I could walk. Maybe earlier. Possibly during my underoos stage. Sorry. He's so gorgeous, she steadied Elsid as he ambled over to the adjoining yard. On the other side of the chain link fence, a Chihuahua let out a barrage of yips, threatening death and dismemberment, ears pinned flat, Elsid leaned over the fence and sniffed. With a shriek, the dog bounced backwards, still barking. He looks like Shadow Fox, from the Lord of the Rings. That's because the main horse that played Shadow Fox was an Andalusian too. I cringed, even as the words left my mouth. Could I be any more of a nerd? Nope, not one bit. Time for me to leave. I knew it. Beaming, Perry punched her fist into the air. A dimple danced in her right cheek. Where did that come from? The dimple led me to look at the rest of her face. Hey, Matt? I blinked. Had I been staring like some kind of creep? Heat flooded my face. Yeah? Do you ride around here a lot? Some. Why? Do you think? She paused, grinding the soles of her sneakers along the step. Do you think what? Do you think I could get on El Cid? She said in a rush, just once, to see what it's like. I've never really been on a horse. Well, except for a pony ride at the state fair. But I was 6, and it was more boring than a merry-go-round. She looked at me. There was something about her face, or the way she tilted her head. I didn't know what, but whatever it was, it made me want to say yes. Why? I had no idea. Who knew why brains did what they did? Guess that was kind of pushy of me. She looked away. Listen, it's no big deal. Let's just pretend I didn't ask. No, right. That's why I said to just pretend I didn't. I mean, no, it wasn't pushy, and yes, you can ride him. Hoped El Cid was too busy with the dog to listen in. I'd I'd have to figure out how to get him to agree. He'll take good care of you. Her face lit up. Really? Sure. Ignoring the way her smile made my pulse frisk around like one of the Naravi new foals, I thought for a moment. How about tomorrow, around 10? I took a stab at a time of day when Ben was usually doing his own thing and I could slip away without too much of an explanation, because I knew how that would go down if he found out I was going to teach a girl how to ride. 10, then? Oh, wait. Perry swiveled around toward the house and yelled through the screen, Mom, can I go riding with Matt tomorrow at 10? A long silence. Mom? Mom? Stop bellowing, I'm right here. Dr. Vandermeer appeared in the doorway. She juggled a plate of puffy muffins and 2 glasses of juice. I jumped up and opened the screen for her. Thank you, Matt. And yes, pear, pear. I know it's cliche to bring out a snack, but stop rolling your eyes and indulge me, would you? She passed the plate to her daughter. Then the glasses clinking. Why were you yelling for me? Matt said I could ride his horse tomorrow around 10. He'd bring El Cid here. We're going to be in Denver all day tomorrow, picking up equipment and supplies. Remember? Do I have to come with you? You made it sound like a punishment. Her mother's face tightened. Spending the day with me? Perry opened her mouth. How about the day after? I offered. Mother and daughter both looked at me. Perry's face hopeful. Then Dr. Vandermeer spoke. Are you sure it's not an imposition? No, ma'am. It gave me time to figure out how to explain it to Dad, and even more importantly to El Cid. Well, okay, she smiled at me. Saturday works for us. Thanks, Matt. Please tell your father I say hello. Perry, bring in the dishes when you're finished. Got it. She waited until her mother's footsteps faded away. At least it wasn't cookies and milk. She grabbed a muffin. I did too. They were thick with apples and heavy on the cinnamon, and best of all, homemade. Nom. Spotting us eating, Elsa stopped teasing the dog into hysterics and headed back over. The mooch, the mooch, I let him have the bottom part. Is your dad a scientist too? I asked around a mouthful. It dawned on me that I hadn't heard or seen any sign of a man. It's just Mom and me. Before I could say anything, she continued. What does your dad do? Pest control, I answered promptly. She frowned. Not ranching or horse training or something like that? The horses are more of a family hobby. Your mom work too? My mom died when I was little. I waited for the averted eyes and uncomfortable shifting, the usual response from other kids when I told them that. Grown-ups are worse. They always said they were sorry. Why? They didn't cause her death. But Perry simply nodded. Mine too. My biological mom. Not sure what to say. I dug out some apple bits and gave them to El Cid. I wish she'd changed the subject. You must have read my mind. So who's your favorite character? She asked after a minute, in The Lord of the Rings. I stalled for time. I didn't want to go over my nerd quota for the day. I was already pretty close to the red zone with that earlier comment about Shadow Fox. Gilmy's cool? I took a drink, trying not to slurp. What about you? Oh wait, let me guess. Legolas, right? Girls and that elf. I just didn't get it. Curry snorted. Hardly. He's too perfect at everything. And he's got better hair than I do. No striders at no. Strata's my favorite, after Shadowfox. By the time we finished pointing out to each other why Rohan should have lost the battle at Helm's Deep, the muffins were long gone. The sun was closing in on the mountains, and Elsid was making grumbling noises. I better go. I stood and dusted crumbs from my jeans. What should I wear to ride? She looked down at her bright jeans Skechers. I don't have boots. Jeans and sneakers are fine. Okay. She rose, picking up the dishes with her. See you Saturday, then. With Elsid behind me, I walked down her driveway. I swore my feet had doubled in size since I sat down on her porch. And why are my arms swinging all goofy like? Was she watching me? The thought made me stumble. Face on fire, I glanced back. The porch was empty. Why did I feel disappointed? And that is the end of chapter 16. If you liked it, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the comments. Thank you for listening.